The Pittsburgh Steelers just beat the Cincinnati Bengals, and this might be their best win in 5 seasons. So, you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The Steelers were at home, and they took advantage of it, winning 34-11. And now both of them have a record of 8-7, and Steelers and the Bengals are still looking for that playoff push. But just looking at the Steelers overall as a team today, they played a really good game on both sides of the field. Offense, defense. Their offense was actually able to score points, and that was the difference in this game. Usually the Steelers have to rely on their defense, and their defense has to keep them in games. But now, Mason Rudolph, he got his first start of the season. First start, and I believe it said like 800-something days. 2 seasons ago when they faced the Detroit Lions and they tied. He got his first start. He played solid. He wasn't too flashy, but he wasn't bad either. He was able to manage the game, make timely throws, and end up winning the game. So the Steelers, the reason why I'm saying this might be their best win in like 5 seasons since that 2018 season before Ben Roethlisberger's injury, I'm saying that because when have you seen the Steelers win a game by more than 20 points? And today they won by 23 points. When was the last time we've seen that? Ever since Big Ben's injury, we always seen it be a close game, never too flashy. It's either they get blown out or it's a very tight game and a one-possession game where they win. But to see the Steelers win a game with over 20 points, and especially the last 2 seasons, it was a really good showing out for the Steelers. The Steelers' offense was able to run the ball, pass the ball. And now just looking over the stats for the game, looking at the Steelers side of the ball first, you look at Mason Rudolph, like I said, nothing too flashy. He threw the ball 27 times, 17 attempts were completed, and 290 yards for 2 touchdowns. The difference in the game, 0 turnovers for the Steelers, which were key, and they were able to get off to a fast start. Looking at the running game, Najee Harris also got off to a fast start and then kind of slowed down later on in the game, but he had 19 carries for 78 yards, which is 4.1 yards per carry, and 1 touchdown. Jaylen Warren, on the other hand, had 8 carries for 24 yards, and actually surprising, usually Jaylen Warren leads this in yards per carry, but Najee Harris actually overtook him in that category today. Kwon Alexander, he also had 1 carry in the red zone for a 7-yard run, which was a touchdown. Looking at the receiving game, this was a difference maker. George Pickens, there's so much talk about him this week about not blocking, so much things in the media said about him. Should he be benched? I even made a video covering some people who said he should be benched. I said he shouldn't, and he paid dividends. He played 4 receptions, 195 yards. He was able to beat his man deep, beat them on a slant route, and just make some really nice catches. Nothing too flashy though, because he did not have a lot of receptions. He still only had 4, but he had 48.8 yards per reception and 2 touchdowns, both of Mason Rudolph's touchdowns. Allen Robinson also went over 30 yards for the first time since week 1. He had 4 receptions for 36 yards. Jaylen Warren, he was more of the screen passer type of running back. Once again, he had 5 receptions for 30 yards. Deontay Johnson didn't do too much, had 2 out routes which he caught, 2 receptions for 15 yards. And then looking over to the defensive side of the ball, they played a really good game, especially for how depleted they were at the safety position and at the inside linebacker position. They played really good, forcing 3 turnovers. So Eric Rowe, first game of the season, first game appearance as a Steeler, he added an interception. Patrick Peterson, he had 1 interception as well on the sideline, and Alex Highsmith topped it off with also a drop back into coverage and had an interception. You look at the sacks, Alex Highsmith, once again, he had a sack as well. Miles Jack, first game of the season, returning as a Pittsburgh Steeler, he also had a sack. And then obviously TJ Watt throughout the game, pressures on the quarterback, and he ended the game with 1 sack as well. Mykal Walker, who got lost in coverage a lot, he had 5 tackles leading the team along with Elena Roberts, which he got injured in the first quarter, I believe, or second quarter. I know it was the first half with a pectoral injury, and then he was ruled out for the game. He also had 5 tackles, which led the team, Levi Wallace led the team with 5 tackles as well. So the Steelers defense did a great job turning the ball over. And what have I said? The Steelers defense really is not a flashy team. But when they do make splash plays, cause turnovers, get sacks, that's when they win football games. When that doesn't happen, they end up losing the game. So they were able to get those splash plays, get those turnovers, and they did a really good job capitalizing on that. The offense did. So the offense was able to help the defense, and the defense was able to help the offense. That's the first time this season where we actually seen both sides help each other out and play off of each other. So that's why the Steelers won the game. Looking at the stats for the Bengals, the Steelers were able to hold them in check. Browning, he did go over 335 yards, but that's mainly because the Bengals were down by so much so early, and he had to throw the ball 42 times. He completed 28 passes, 1 touchdown, but he did have those 3 interceptions like I said. The Steelers were able to hold Joe Mixon under control as well, 11 carries for 43 yards, and that's 3.9 yards per carry. Usually he goes off, gets a touchdown, but he didn't so today. Also, Brown, he had 4 carries for 16 yards. TJ Watt said during the week that he's someone that they had to keep an eye on, and they're able to hold him in check as well. T. Higgins, on the other hand, the Steelers held him in check, but he had just the 1 long pass for 80 yards where he took it for a touchdown. He had 5 receptions, 140 yards, but for the most part, the Steelers were able to hold him in check as well. And then Tyler Boyd, 5 receptions, 59 yards. Sample, 3 receptions, 38 yards. Irwin, 4 receptions, 37. And the Steelers were mainly holding these players in check. It's just that they were down by so much, and they had to throw the ball, meaning that the Steelers are playing more zone coverage throughout the game, and catches were going to be made. So the Steelers defense did a really good job holding these people in check, getting turnovers, getting sacks, and destroying their offensive line. So we look at the Steelers. Injuries on the day, like I said, Elandon Roberts, he has a pectoral injury. We don't know how bad that is. Hopefully it's not bad, but the Steelers were depleted at inside linebacker position, meaning that Miles Jack had to step in and be the green dot. The Steelers went from Cole Holcomb being the green dot person to Kwon Alexander to Elandon Roberts and now Miles Jack. So they're depleted at the inside linebacker position, but were able to hold it down. Safety position as well. Eric Rowe was able to step up and help the team. But all in all, this might be one of the best Steelers wins in 5 seasons in terms of blowing out a team. We don't usually see this from the Steelers, and they're able to do it today. Also, Mason Rudolph, he almost cracked 300 yards. It would have been the first time the Steelers quarterback went over 300 yards since Big Ben was here, and he was not able to do it. He was only like 10 yards short, but it was a really good game from him. He missed a few passes in which it could have been touchdowns, where he missed Calvin Austin deep twice. He missed Deontay Johnson wide open. So he could have had more yards, more chances, more points on the board for the team. But all in all, he was able to hit the timely ones and take advantage of this defense earlier on in the game, which led to the Steelers' success. So this is the best Steelers win in 5 seasons. And let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. How Mason Rudolph did. How did you like his performance? And do you think this is the best Steelers win in 5 seasons, like I do, since that 2018 season before Big Ben's injury? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about this game in general, and who do you think stepped up? Who do you want to see get more playing time as we move on to the final 2 games of the season? And do you think the Steelers even have a chance to make the playoffs? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about this game. The one thing I will say and bring a negative towards is imagine what the Steelers team could have looked like if Mitchell Trubisky didn't start the last 2 games and Mason Rudolph was starting. Maybe this team would be in a better spot to actually make the playoffs if Mason Rudolph has been our starter against New England, against those bad teams like Arizona, last week against the Colts. If he was our quarterback, maybe we would be in a better position to make the playoffs, but hopefully we're able to win out and get hope from other teams losing, and maybe, just maybe, squeak into the playoffs and make a run towards the Super Bowl. Just being hopeful here. But they win the game either way. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below as well if you like Steelers content, analysis, reports. Like the video, turn on post notifications down below for the channel as well so you get notified whenever I post the next Steelers video. I cover everything Steelers, all the news, all the rumors, all the reports. And as we get into the week, as more news starts coming about this game, about injuries, about film breakdowns, reactions, I'm covering it all. So turn on notifications for this channel, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.